How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Good morning to everyone. I just wanted to go do a really quick interview with an individual by the name of Karan Cole. And on this interview, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to reach out to people and kind of let everybody hear Mr. Karan's, story, his journey, get him to explain it in his own words, what he's been through, kind of where he's at, how his journey has been so far. And for the ones that don't know, Mr. Karan Cole is up in Atlanta, Georgia. And I guess, if you will, that's a city that's been quarantined now. So um, it's been difficult times for everyone. All of us are experiencing, for the most part, all of us are experiencing, the pandemic effects. A lot of us are, kind of worried unless you're an essential worker. And I kind of want to go over some things with Mr. Karan Cole. That way you guys can hear from him what he's been through and his journey and the process that he has, actually started to go down. Why is it, important for everyone? And the great thing is how can it actually benefit himself, as well as, longevity. So on that note, Mr. Karan Cole, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Awesome. How are you doing this beautiful evening?
I'm good, brother.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. So what industry have you pretty much prominently been in over, well, I guess, if you will, over the course of 10, 15 years?
Automotive industry, sir.
Okay. How's that treated you to date?
Oh man, extremely well. By the grace of God, I've actually been in the industry about 30 years. Been a six-figure earner pretty much the whole time I've been there. It's afforded me a very good life. Benefited my children well. I love the automobile industry.
Awesome. And you get cheap automobiles at times, right?
Something like that.
Good deal. So, as of recently, you decided to embark on a new journey, and I'm kind of intrigued on the fact that you are going from a great industry, in an industry that is pretty lucrative, from the sounds of it. I mean, you're already a six-figure earner, and you had stakes, from to my understanding, you had stakes in your own company. You
Yes.
branded yourself over a course of a time. But it kind of intrigues me to hear that you're going from a lucrative industry to embarking on a complete foreign industry that we won't really bring up at the moment. But what made you decide to go down and transition into, a new industry?
Well, it's not so much anything wrong with our industry. As anyone knows, anytime there is a change in the economy, the first two industries that are impacted pretty much is real estate and automotive. They kind of dictate how the world kind of moves. I love the industry. The challenge, or not even so much the challenge, is I'm 52 years old, so my mind is really thinking about retirement. So I want to accelerate what I'm doing to make sure, I don't have to work until I'm 70, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely, makes perfectly good sense. I mean, I agree. I don't want to work until, I'm 70 years old either. But another thing that kind of intrigues me is the fact that, you was in, a booming industry, and due to the fact of this pandemic, if you will, that kind of put a halt
Yeah,
on, I guess, money flow.
exactly. Because of course, you know what, dealerships, most of them aren't open or operating at a very small level. My company, we do some high level training and things of that nature for dealerships. So if it impacts them directly, it impacts us directly. So my partners and I, yeah, things have slowed down a little bit. The blessing is though, it's given me time and opportunity to actually, look at some other opportunities while I'm doing it. And that's how we got here. The world just opened up.
Okay. Um, Now, so would it be a safe assumption that it's not? I'm trying to find a proper way to say this. So let's just say if this pandemic didn't happen, and you was still going, full throttle with the automotive industry, and everything, life was hunky dory. Do you think that mentally you would have slowed down and started to go down a different industry?
Probably not. I would still actually would have gone, but my progress and where I am now would have been a lot longer in coming. For the first time in forever, you know what? I'm actually at home for 30, 40 days at a time. So though I am still focused on my day to day, making my company and my partners and I go forward, it's also giving me the time to really focus more attention to it. And because of that, I'm able to attain the things that I've been able to do in that short space of time.
Okay, I'm glad that you just actually brought that up. You did say there was a key word in everything that you just said, um, a very short space in time.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about that really quick because, as the title here says, his pain and gains. So the pain aspect, you went through, you're in the automotive industry, and the next thing you know, this huge thing called a pandemic just dropped like a bombshell, like an atom bomb on the country, on the globe. And the pain behind that you personally experienced is, oh crap, how am I going to be able to go from making $20,000 a month in the automotive industry to a complete stop? It's like somebody put the e-brake on life, okay, to embarking down this journey. And you just said that, in a very short period of time. So actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of, touch on that. Like when you say a very short amount of time, how short are we talking, Karan?
Um, 35, 40 days.
35, 40 days that you embarked on a new journey
Hmm.
in your life. And again, we're going to kind of go back a little bit. So you've been doing this for 35, 40 days, and you've been into the automotive industry for how long again?
30 years.
For 30 years. So between, if we take time and we put time side by side, this one is the years that you embarked into the automotive industry. This side is, something that you actually looked at, you took a jump on, due to the fact of, whether it was 100% or whether it was 30% reasoning behind of a pandemic, that you actually decided to take, a different look in life to something different. And you've done that for, 35 to 40 days. Now, in those 35 to 40 days, um, how would you describe these 35 to 40 days?
Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. Exciting. Life changing. I really have no negatives, honestly and truly. It's just been an amazing journey. It's actually mind blowing just to see what has happened in such a short space of time. It really is.
Awesome. So now I kind of want to touch bases. And again, if you don't feel comfortable answering any of the questions, and then, it's perfectly understandable. But what is your degree of education?
I'm educated.
Okay, so would it be a safe assumption to say that you have college under your belt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this so-called industry that you decide to go down, and to kind of back up just a little bit, you say that you had college under your belt.
Yes.
And how long did you attend college?
um, let's see. I didn't complete it, if that's the case you're asking.
No, I was actually, how long was you in, like actually enrolled in college?
2 years.
2 years. Now, in those 2 years, with this new journey that you kind of went down, that you embarked on, did you learn anything within those 2 year period that you're learning right now in this industry that you're kind of starting to go down?
Absolutely not.
So would it be a safe assumption that this is something outside can be taught in some, universities?
Oh man, it should be taught everywhere. Honestly and truly, the basics of what we're doing now. I mean, kids should know this thing coming out of high school.
You're absolutely right. They should be. Now, granted, this is, as you guys can tell, I didn't prep him on none of these questions and answers because that wouldn't be fair, right? So, another curveball in questioning, Karan. Why do you not think that people are not taught this?
Don't know. I mean, they just don't know. At the end of the day, people don't know this exists.
Now, would you say that if everyone actually knew the power of this industry, do you think that can actually impact a lot of people?
Absolutely.
All right. So now we heard the pain factor being that the pandemic came down. It basically put an e-brake on life for Mr. Cole. So now I want to actually introduce some of the gains that he's experienced. And again, I have to throw this out for obvious reasons, but I want everybody to understand this is not by no means an overnight success story. This is not something that you're just going to get into and just dominate. This is not something that you're just going to wake up to tomorrow and all of a sudden be a master of the trade. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to kind of very cautiously go down, the gain aspect. So what kind of light at the end of the tunnel, Mr. Cole, have you seen since embarking on this industry?
Um, Kind of light. Wow. How do I even explain that? The light is extremely bright. My results, I don't know if they're unique or not, but I will say I wouldn't have been able to achieve them without the general, which is Mr. Douglas MacArthur, teaching me what he did. He actually took me under his wing. Uh, I swear he calls me like first thing in the morning every morning. We're trying to beat each other awake. It's a grind. I work hard at it just like I work at my professional, but the results are just mind blowing.
Awesome, awesome. So if you didn't put in the time in your due diligence to date, do you think you would have made it this far?
Oh, absolutely not. And having your assistants, your teaching, your coaching, shortening the learning curve for me, so I was able to excel pretty fast.
Awesome. So another thing as far as your gains here is, do you think, I'm not asking do you know, but do you think over a very short period of time, let's put, you've been in the car industry for 30 years, so let's just say a year window, do you think that you could exceed your income as a person in the car industry to this new journey that you decide to go on?
Do I think I can't answer it as a think question because there's too much facts based on what we're doing, and based on some of the things you and I have done and laid out. I'll probably do $250,000 in probably the next 60 days. So
$250,000 in the next 60
yeah.
days.
And so to answer your question, will it exceed? Yes.
Wow. Something that you did 30 years, you are predicting that within the next 60 days, you will exceed what you have done for the last 30 years
Mm-hmm.
as far as your annual revenue.
As far as that, yeah.
Wow. I needed to sit back and really, digest what it is that you just said here, because I don't think that most actually understands this. I don't think that, that most can compute what it is that you just said. So I want to kind of backtrack just really quick, like, and I want to ask, so you made a comment earlier that you said that due to the fact of the pandemic, it allowed you to kind of go full steam ahead, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So if the pandemic didn't happen, and that means you would have stayed pushing car industry, correct?
Mhm.
Do you now would you consider the car industry that you're specifically in? Would you say that it is a very high paced atmosphere?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you think if this whole global pandemic did not happen, would you have had time in an already fast paced environment to learn this extra industry?
I would have had to make time for it because my job requires me to travel a lot. I'm on planes, trains, and automobiles all the time. So, I mean, I would have had to seriously been focused about cutting out time to learn it. But because of unfortunately what's going on in the world, it actually gave me a window of time where I really could dedicate myself to learning.
So, with people that might be faced with this problem, as far as the same 24 hours in a day that me and
Mhm.
you and everybody else on the planet has, would you say that it would be unreasonable for someone that has two jobs to learn this?
No, it's not unreasonable, but guess what? If you have two jobs, you need to learn it. And what I mean by that is this: I remember our first conversation, and I explained to you my time constraints. You said, "Can you afford an hour a day?" And we kind of, I said, well, I probably want if I work it out. And so, its question is, do you want what you want more than do you want what you have? And if you're working two jobs or one job, your career path is not enough, then you actually need to do it. It's not a matter of can I do it? You have to do it.
Awesome. I like what you just said, and I might not get this quote money on, but you have to want what you want more
Mhm.
than want what you have.
Yeah, that's a Quranism. I just came up with that. I'm a patent that. I like it too.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna have to actually use that if you don't mind, Mr. Cole. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna like
um,
it to you right now. You can use that, Doug.
all right, I appreciate that. I don't want no I don't want no patents or trademarks, to come after me or anything like that. So, um, now if you could, in your own very words, um, if you could explain the importance of let's forget about the monetary value. Let's forget about anything that a person could possibly gain, as far as liquidity goes. Um, how important, if you had to explain this to someone, how important is this journey that you embarked on? How important do you think or feel that it is that everyone should actually know it, minus the gains monetarily?
It's extremely important because it really will bring the focus of what it is you're trying to accomplish in life together. Again, my thinking has changed since I turned 50, so I'm always thinking about legacy, longevity. I'm thinking about my children and grandchildren, making sure that they have a comfortable life. Not why I mean while I'm here, it's important also, but more so when I'm gone. So I'm definitely thinking on another level. So I think everyone should actually look at it.
Awesome. Now, before we actually hop off here, Mr. Cole, I got one more question. I know you're probably thinking, man, this guy's got a lot of questions for me. And guys, I have to say it again. This is not scripted.
It really is.
I did not call prior and say, okay, this is the questions that I'm going to ask. Matter of fact, I see that we got the live feed going. We have two comments. Give me one. Let's see. Good morning. Are others watching with you? No. All right. So we have no questions so far. Let me look at comments anywhere else. Okay. All right. We have no comments. Let's see. Let's look at. All right, so we have no comments as of yet. Let's see. All right. So, all right, good deal. So no comments or no questions, should I say. Um, that way, I want to make sure that we're not missing anything. So if whoever has a question for Mr. Cole, that would be a great time to ask it. I don't know if this is streaming on your page as well, Cole. I cannot see those comments, obviously. So if anybody has any questions, now would be a great time to ask. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to allow a few minutes because I know Facebook, YouTube, and the other platforms that we're streaming live on right this very second, I do know that it does take a little bit of time to catch up. So if you have any questions, now will be a great time to ask those questions to Mr. Cole. Allow me to go inside. Let's see. Okay, what part does Uncle Sam play in trading games? Wow. That's the question from Mark. He wants to know what part does Uncle Sam play in trading games?
Well, Uncle Sam is always going to get his part. I think one of the best things, recommendations I can tell you is to open up a separate account just for taxes. And if you put at least, 1/3 of whatever those gains are in that account, because you're going to have to see the man at some point.
Awesome. So hopefully everybody heard the answer from Mr. Cole. And guys, I do want to elaborate. What part does Uncle Sam play in trading games? There's actually ways that you can move your money. You can use their laws that they actually use. I'm not going to say to go around, to divert, paying taxes. Laws that is in place to help the investor slash entrepreneur. And all you have to do, if you want to actually dig deeper into that, if you look up at the top, actually, I think it's over here. If you look at the top over there, you see the guy looking up at the sky and he's got lightning bolts and stuff running through his head. Mind blowing stuff. If you want to learn things like that, do me a favor. Click on my name on here and make sure that you follow me, friend me if you haven't already, because guys, we'll be doing lives like this all the time and dropping nuggets on how to do as far as questions just like that. Can you put it in a family trust to protect it? Ms. Baker actually asked that question. I don't know if you have the knowledge on that, Cole, or do you want me to answer that? But if you wish, go ahead.
The simple thing is this: I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving legal advice. But the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of things you can do to it, and just to stay on the right side, I just tell you go to an attorney and have somebody deal with that for you.
Or if it's not an attorney, make sure that you go with somebody that knows about accounting and how to move money in certain places. And I will hint on that really quick. And again, this is not legal advice. This is not being a financial advisor, but there will come a time to where you want to be able to protect your assets. Okay, you want to protect your assets. So there is ways around that. And if you're plugged in with me, or if you're plugged in with Mr. Cole, then we actually teach you how to do that. Okay. So again, if you have not already, make sure you click on that follow button with me. And I know Mr. Cole will say the exact same thing. Make sure you friend me and click on that follow button, because we will be dropping jewels in that category as we go and we start doing live. So we will be doing lives throughout the day from here out. That way everybody can get nuggets. So do we have any more questions either from myself or Mr. Cole? And we're going to allow Facebook to kind of catch up. Guys, forgive me. Facebook has a tendency to do a lag. So I want to make sure that everybody is on the same wavelength here. So we're going to allow Facebook to get caught up really quick. And then if nobody else has any other questions, we will conclude this meeting with Mr. Karan Cole, straight out of Atlanta, Georgia, guys. And again, he's embarked on this new journey. I think he's been in now, what do you say, a month and a half, maybe 5 weeks, give or take. All right, guys. So I do appreciate everybody watching. I don't have any more questions coming in over Facebook. I don't have any questions coming in over YouTube. So, Mr. Karan, it was a pleasure having your time this morning to be able to chat with you live. Always a pleasure to speak to people that is embarking on new journeys. And like I had under a while ago, fear is the unknown. So a little piece of wisdom before we disconnect, guys. Fear is the unknown. You fear what you do not know, and the only way to conquer that fear is to educate. On that note, I appreciate you guys joining in. My name is Douglas MacArthur. This is Karan Cole, and you guys have a blessed evening.